Hello and welcome to this edition of Crossover. I'm Ji Xiaojun with Charlotte and Julian. And there is something very interesting happening these days in Pizza Hut. The latest development in Pizza Hut. Because before in China, all these Pizza Hut restaurants, they have this special salad buffet.
A salad bar.
It's something like if you ordered salad, what you need is they'll give you a plate and you'll be given the chance to go to the salad bar. You're only allowed one chance.
Once.
Yeah, but you can take, however big that might be, whatever you want, but just in one chance. But
So
that's not gone.
However much you can fit in your bowl.
So the tallest building in the world came out of Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
It's basically the way it worked.
And
you had to find there were a few specific ways to be able to actually have...
Build your salad.
you want to talk about creativity, and this is when people are going to show their creativity. And it's not about salad anymore. It's not about food anymore.
No, it never was.
This is what we call the normal size that people would expect.
Right.
But this is getting more serious.
More creative.
Well,
It's like building a pagoda, and there are even websites telling people they discuss
The formulas.
the best ways. Exactly.
The formulas for building a big salad. Look at that.
I've only been to Pizza Hut
That's
once in my
cool.
life, so I'm going to ask you guys.
Wow, it's two huge pagodas.
Okay, it's only for one person.
Yeah. Well, it's
or can you actually go take a salad and actually feed the whole table?
that you can. I mean,
That you
they're
can.
given one plate. They're only saying you can only go to the bar
Okay.
once, but they're not saying you can't share your salad with your friends.
And you can take away too, or
No,
not?
no, you can't take
take
away.
away.
No, you can't take
But
away.
this is cancelled now, right?
This is cancelled.
Good thing.
I guess it's
So they've completely canceled the salad bar.
No,
at
not
Pizza Hut.
really. It's basically you order a salad, they would just serve you salad.
Okay, so it's
with
no
the
more,
rational size.
no more salad bar, but you
Not
can
the
still
bars.
order a salad.
That's true.
It's a little bit like going to some places in the north of China where you order a simple dish and it's huge. I feel like it's two people, and actually two people can't even finish one plate, let alone have a bowl of rice and have some green
trying to be
vegetables.
hospitable,
Well, so I have a question. Did
Yeah.
Pizza Hut give any reasons as to why they canceled this?
I guess you don't have to guess the reason
They don't need to
behind
give
it.
any reasons.
When it goes beyond just food.
What a
it's-
mess.
Yeah, I guess they're worried about the cost.
Yes, because the cost of vegetables. There was a huge story recently about the prices of garlic in China. But
That's
this is just
true.
an example. I mean, the prices of vegetables have gone
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
But the true story behind that. Honestly, sometimes I go to a restaurant. I don't mind paying the same price for less food when I don't have to waste. Because a lot of the times, I actually don't. I mean, of course, I can take away. Most of the time, there's some left, I take away. But so many times do I take them home and I have to throw it away because I am not eating at home at all. I don't spend time at home sometimes.
But it's a different issue. I mean, it's really the restaurant runners. They have their concerns. They don't want to waste their cost. I mean, they don't want the extra cost.
That's true, and actually, I haven't been to a Pizza Hut for a long time, but in high school, there was one not too far from our school, and we used to go there for lunch every once in a while, and it would become almost like a battle.
A competition.
To actually, not only to make a big salad, but to actually get
All right.
a spot at the salad bar to make your salad. Because people would spend, 15, 20 minutes building their salad.
Some people live there.
Yeah, but what we are really going to talk about today is really the development of fast food, or the concept of fast food being accepted by Chinese. And Pizza Hut is just one example. It's extremely popular these days in China. Basically, when we say fast food, it's really they're really referring to McDonald's or KFCs. And the first KFC restaurant in China was in 1987. It's November the 12th.
So it was
In
before.
Beijing.
It was before McDonald's.
It's before the McDonald's. Let's take a look at the picture of the first KFC restaurant. That's just south to the Tiananmen Square.
Oh my gosh.
It's Kentucky Fried Chicken. It's not KFC yet. And the Chinese would be something like KFC,
What is the
America,
Chinese in there?
Kentucky homemade chicken, something like that.
Jiaxiangji, is that what is that the Chinese?
Yeah, that's what it says in here. And
yeah.
now they have over 2,100 restaurants
I believe
in China.
it. Kentucky Fried Chicken is very popular here.
And the first McDonald's in China was set up in 1990 in Shenzhen, in South China. And the first one in Beijing, I guess, was in 1990, near the Wangfujing, one of the busiest shopping streets in Beijing, not far from the Tiananmen Square. And you just, and these days, and to go to McDonald's, to go to KFC's is something just normal. But in those days, they were big, extremely popular.
It was like Western food, you know.
Well,
Exactly,
it was
exactly.
the first Western food mainstream to hit, well, first Western food to hit mainstream China. I mean, Kentucky Fried Chicken, McDonald's, these fast food chains really did chain out in China all over the place. Now
So
you
by the
find
way,
them all over the place.
You came basically around those years to China.
Yes.
Well,
Is it before or after KFC?
Well, we moved here in
After.
'88, so a year after the first KFC, but we
Yeah.
lived in Nanjing, and Nanjing didn't get a KFC. I still remember the first time Nanjing opened a KFC.
when was that?
It was in '93 or '94 or something, I think, and it was in Nanjing's Fuzi Miao, which is the Confucius Temple area of Nanjing, very popular area. And it was the first time I'd ever eaten Kentucky Fried Chicken.
So in Nanjing, you're following KFC.
Yes, so it was my first time, and it was all of a sudden, we had something, a little different.
But you had McDonald's in the U.S. before.
I'd had McDonald's in the
So
US.
did you miss? That was my question. But did you miss McDonald's when you came to China?
As a kid, yes.
As a kid, yes.
Of course.
I mean, these days, it's the same. It's KFC's, McDonald's. They're huge attraction to the kids. I don't know. It's because of they have the fun ground.
They have playgrounds. They have toys. They have special children's meals. At McDonald's, it's a Happy Meal. It makes kids happy. There's a toy in your little box, and kids love that kind of thing. My 5th birthday, I had at a McDonald's.
Yeah, they have these kind of birthday parties for all these children. When the first McDonald's restaurant was opened in Beijing, I still remember personal experience. I was in the in the university, and we knew about the opening of the new McDonald's restaurant in Wangfujing, and I traveled all the way from my university to Wangfujing.
How'd you get there?
By bus, by subway, and a little walk.
Okay.
It's because the set menu, it's like you spend 10 yuan for the set menu. For a Big Mac, you have a cup of Coke maybe and fries. That's a huge thing, and people actually lined up, and we are going to see the pictures. People actually lined up to get in to these McDonald's or KFCs.
Yeah, see?
You will see how popular
Here's
those
the
days
line.
were.
Yeah.
Nanjing used to have lines around their KFC back when it first opened that went around the block.
Imagine why this becomes so popular. I don't know, maybe back in the States, it's just a fast food chain. You want something, you buy something, that's it.
Well, apparently in China it was a huge phenomenon, and it's still now. You still hear, sometimes I don't like to eat that stuff all the time, but sometimes, because China doesn't have a sandwich culture, so there's no way of having like in 2 or 3 minutes something ready that has enough stuff in it, so that you have a real meal. So many times I take the taxi, we get by a KFC or McDonald's, I take something. I get into a cab, and the taxi driver sometimes will say, "Oh, so you're Western food. You always eat that kind of stuff."
Yeah, this is the equivalent to the Western food.
Chinese food is so varied. I'm like, well, you should go to France and ask what people think about McDonald's.
Western food isn't just McDonald's and Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Somehow, because
But wait a
they're so
minute.
successful.
I have a question. Going
Yeah.
back to your first trip to McDonald's, what did you think?
Well, it's a new experience.
Did you like it?
Definitely. I mean, yes, actually I liked.
Yes, and I've had conversations along the same lines of, oh, McDonald's and Kentucky Fried Chicken is what Western cuisine is, So along those lines, I've had conversations with people and older, adults saying that their children, that they're not too fond of, fast food and everything, but their children love it.
They have to go with
And
their
they
children.
will take their kids there once a week or once every, twice a week.
As a treat.
As a treat, yes.
My parents came to a McDonald's with us, 3 boys, once. They made the effort. It was the only time in their life that they have ever been. I've been to a Pizza Hut once in my life. I will never go ever.
Well,
Because it's I'm sorry, but it's I'm an old-fashioned guy. I think a sandwich is a wonderful thing, because in a sandwich, if you go to France, and also in Belgium they have those wonderful systems. You have true fresh food, really fresh food. You have good bread that was just made from the boulangerie around. They bring it fresh.
But
real
in the
bread,
end, I mean,
real stuff in there.
But in the end, it's always more than just about food. I mean,
Yes.
restaurants are more than about food, and what they offer really maybe is the environment. And sometimes these days it still happens. Young couples, boys and girls, they would date actually.
They will go on dates and go to
Exactly.
McDonald's.
At McDonald's or
It's
KFC.
true.
And it's you don't have to spend much.
True,
Basically,
it's
just
affordable.
2 Cokes and
And
that will do.
we all
Teenagers.
know, we all know fast food's not that healthy for you. There have been many movies and documentaries done on the whole fast food phenomenon.
Exactly.
Super Size Me in the States, all of that.
Yeah, we'll talk about, they are now facing some challenges as what you're mentioning. So we'll talk about what challenges these fast food chains are facing and how they're dealing with these challenges in China. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Crossover. Now you were talking about the challenges. You're talking about the problems, actually, they are now being confronted with.
Right, and I think the biggest concern that's come up in the past, people have known about it for a while, but it's really become much more of a public matter, is just health. Is this food healthy or not? And
That everyone is saying, okay, fast food, KFC, McDonald's, it's not healthy. It's not good.
it's not healthy.
It is obviously not healthy.
It's not healthy.
They will be the first, especially McDonald's used to have this paper that would put on the tray and telling you how healthy eating McDonald's would be and how.
And McDonald's and KFCs in China, they're launching campaigns of healthy fast food, and they're saying, traditionally, fast food might not be good, but actually we have new menus, and they even actually they have their own R&D sections, and they've introduced some very local, very Chinese food.
Yes, they have localized their menus.
That's true.
Which is very intelligent, I think.
And we just want to show you some pictures of the local food, very Chinese food they've introduced. They've included in the menu. Take a look.
Okay, this is soy milk. KFC is selling soy milk.
It's one of very important traditional Chinese drink.
Yes, especially for breakfast.
That's true.
Right.
Wow, youtiao.
Youtiao.
How would you say that in
this
English?
is, I think we would call this a cruller.
Oily stick.
Yeah, it's like a donut. It's a deep fried piece of dough.
Yes,
But
they-
it's the traditional one. The Chinese one would be salty.
Salty or
It's-
just
yes.
not flavored.
Yeah.
It's not sweet anyway.
That's true. But
And
they've also introduced the sweet version of the same thing.
have they really?
Yes, they have.
Okay, so that's more like an American donut then.
Okay,
Or
yeah.
cruller, yeah.
Long donut.
So basically, these fast food chains, or basically it's McDonald's and KFCs, they are now doing something to deal with all the challenges they're facing in China by introducing local food, by localizing the menu. They even actually have set up a local brand of serving Chinese food, Chinese fast food.
I think that it's a good direction if all those fast food industries are starting to sell better vegetables, better meat, better. I mean, I'm not against the fast food phenomenon by itself. I'm a sandwich guy. I think sandwich is the best invention ever for that because it's really good stuff in there.
I like sandwiches too.
And actually, the hamburger phenomenon is kind of the same thing. As soon as you keep it healthy, there's always a way to keep it healthy if you have good things in there.
Yeah, I mean, there are reasons why people like fast food.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting. The last time I was in, it was a Kentucky Fried Chicken here in China, which was a while ago, I have to say, but still, I noticed that what was being ordered most at the counter were the products that they have made specifically for
China.
Like they have a chicken roll that's done like a Beijing duck roll, with the sauce and the cucumber and the lettuce, and it's done very much in the same way as a Beijing duck roll.
Yeah, it's like inspired by the Chinese roast duck.
Yes, Peking duck.
Peking duck, yes.
So, and it was really interesting. I found it really interesting that because we think of these there are these huge, fast food chains that are just global and everything, and they did well in China before they started doing more localized stuff.
Localization is really the strategy that will be taken by all these big chains the world over. But what I'm saying is actually all these restaurants, all these fast food chains, they're developing localized menus, they're developing localized restaurants, but still Chinese consumers have their complaints because they want to see more Chinese fast food because their stomachs are more used to Chinese food. And we'll talk about how the Chinese counterparts are dealing with these kind of complaints in China. We'll be right back. Come back to Crossover. Now, these days we're also seeing some Chinese fast food chains. I mean, it's like a campaign is going on for a while, but only recently we've seen some brands doing fairly well. Chinese fast food.
That's true. There's one that I actually quite enjoy going to. Is called Yonghe, which is they do congee, rice porridge, and soy milk, and the crullers, youtiao, and those kinds of things. And I mean, rice porridge is rice boiled in water. I mean, you can't really make it. Its health content is what it is. You can't really, make that.
Yeah, and one of their slogans might be Chinese food, healthier food.
Well, exactly.
Something like that.
Well, the concept of healthy food is a tricky one because the real if you watch this movie Food Inc., it tells you how. I mean, it's stuff like that French people have been fighting for so many years. I mean, I think French people lead the way in terms of really paying attention to what the chicken are eating since they're being raised. You have to write that on the label when you sell it in the market. So the concept of healthy food is about how it is grown,
grown,
everything,
right?
And then you realize that it's not about eating rice; it's about how is the rice grown. It's not about eating vegetables; it's about where do those vegetables grow. How are they grown? Is it a healthy way?
If you're going to a restaurant ordering something, you need a menu to explain what's being taken by all these.
Sure, but there's
how it's produced,
which is why there are laws to control all that, and which is why the AB labels, the green labels are very, very important. And a point I wanted to come to before is that actually now, in the US, you have all those international, top 500 companies that start to actually control all those green labels, and as soon as it's well controlled by the country.
Well, but ideally, it's what they should do. But I guess that's beyond the responsibility of the restaurants. It's basically what the regulators should do.
Exactly.
Going back to what you were saying about why have we not seen more homegrown Chinese, like Chinese fast food chains, and I think if we're talking about that, you can't ignore the fact that the basic makeup of Chinese food and how it's made, how it's put together and everything is quite different.
The philosophy of making food is different.
Yes, and so to all of a sudden take something that like for example, I've asked my friends on multiple occasions to teach me how to make this dish or that dish or this dish or that dish of Chinese food, and they're like, well, I say, can you write the recipe down for me? Well, there's no recipe. You just kind of do it.
You feel it.
Yeah.
Well, they have. Okay, it's like vegetables. The ingredients are easy. You just slice them or chop them into different sizes.
How many vegetables and what kind of chopping
They have
or
those words
slicing,
like just put enough salt. Or
yes.
a certain amount of salt. A certain amount. Exactly. Not too much.
At the temperature of oil, not too hot. Medium hot.
But because Western food, it's quite specific. Like if you're baking something, it's a certain temperature, very specific temperature.
Put in oven, 10 minutes, 300 degrees.
Yeah, a very specific amount of time. Whereas Chinese food doesn't work that way necessarily.
Because that's why we call cooking as an art. It's basically. It all lies in the flexibility, lies in the understanding of the cook.
Exactly. So if you're going to take a cuisine that is this kind of has the art of feeling it out and putting it together, and it's really an art, and you turn it into a sort of mass production line of this kind of food,
it's really about
not
the process.
easy.
The process of standardization.
Yes.
And the winning point of these fast food chains, McDonald's, KFC, is because they have this standardized procedure of making food.
And they've nailed it.
No, I think it's the same principle. I don't think I don't think Chinese cuisine doesn't. I mean, at the end of the day, if you do some similar simple things, it will be the same kind of process, but it's just about the whole scale of the whole phenomenon. Because McDonald's, like the American fast food chains, they started really early in the U.S., so they have the whole society, as I was saying, is built around that. Whereas in China, you still have so many small producers, small peasants who have, I went to, my girlfriend from Sichuan, I went to her hometown with her, and you see the peasants coming from the mountains or wherever they come from, they have their own vegetables that they sell in the streets, and they come every day, especially to sell them, and it's really, really fresh thing. You see the color of the vegetables, I'm like, where are those in Beijing? You look at the color of that, you never see vegetables like that in Beijing.
That's the sacrifice you have to make, the compromise you have to make, living in a big city. And you have the convenience.
But I think the other point, another element to why sort of homegrown fast food chains haven't really taken off as well as you might think they would, is because China has a culture of little food stands.
That's true.
There are so many little food stands all over the place that sell a variety of little foods.
And sometimes you would just go to one specific stand.
Yes.
Because they make food in a different way. They're more tasty. They have their own different styles.
That's right. And where we film our show, actually, just locally near here is a guy that makes jianbing, which is a kind of like pancake with stuff in it.
Or spring rolls.
It's like French crepes as well.
Yeah, like a crepe or something like that. That was in the news.
I mean, hundreds of, even thousands of people are doing the same thing, making the same food, but somehow this one stands out.
Right, and so all of these little vendors and these little stalls that sell steamed buns and cakes with filling and all these things. I mean, people are used to going to these places. They have their favorite places to go, and they will go buy their fast food there.
Overall, Chinese people have healthy eating habits.
Absolutely.
Overall, and you see, I mean, the average Chinese person, when they talk to you about a dish, they will tell you, oh, it's good that I put this vegetable in there because this is good for you or whatever part of your health.
Backed by the Chinese medicine.
They can tell you the specific, if it's good for your liver, if it's good for your heart, if it's good for
lungs.
And they have all that knowledge. It comes from the Chinese medicine, and it's really in the traditions. So it would be, in those terms, if you really want to integrate, I mean, the fast food culture into the Chinese system, you would need a little bit more than what there is now.
But having said that, we still have to say, I mean, there are some successful examples of modern Chinese fast food chains, like Kung Fu.
Yes.
That's one of the examples. We have
Kung
pictures
Fu.
about that.
Right.
It's basically what they do. It's everything is been steamed. So they have this standardized procedure of making food. Like you put in the steamer for like 5-10 minutes.
Which is actually really healthy.
And they have their central kitchen. This is Li Hua Kuaichan. It's another Chinese fast food chain. They have also their standards.
This is, you also have the Japanese chains. I read Jiyejia, I don't remember the Japanese. It starts with a Y.
Japanese food, but not the Japanese
but it's
brand,
also a chain. You have chains like that. You have also chains of hot pot.
Noodles,
nice.
Chinese
they have
noodles, Malan La Mian,
Chinese noodles. Yeah, you have, a lot of those places. I think as soon as they can standardize the way they get, as soon as they can have a certain quantity of the vegetables and the rice they do, and also they have people who actually pre-cook for them